Yes, today we are going to learn three terms regarding current. Okay, those are drift velocity, drift current, and current density. Okay, we will go one by one. First, we will understand what is drift velocity. First, see that drift velocity is represented by Vd. Okay, it is a representation. What is Vd? What is Vd? Drift velocity is the average velocity. It is actually the average velocity. Okay, average velocity of whom? By electrons or any particle charged. Okay, any charged particle when anytime when it is subjected to an electric field. Okay, right. So basically what happens in electric field? Whenever, what is the funda of electric field? Electric field generates from positive charge and move away. Okay, so if we place any positive charge in between, in which direction it will experience the force? In the direction of the electric field here, right? In the direction of the electric field. And if we take an electron in this path, in the influence of this electric field, it will move opposite to the electric field, right? These are the properties of the charges and subjected to an electric field, right? So now when we calculate current, we are actually dealing with an conductor, right? Nothing to be surprised about. Every wire is a conductor and every wire is a cylindrical length, right, of circular cross section. If we cut any wire into two parts, it will have two cross sectional area of circular shape, right? So it is basically cylindrical shape, right? So when electrons are in this wire and it is subjected to an electric field, okay, these electrons are negatively charged, so they will move opposite to the electric field if the electric field is applied in this direction. If the electric field is applied in this direction, all the charge carriers will be moving this side, left side, right? And what are the charge carriers? Those charge carriers are electrons. Those are negatively charged. Okay, so we will write as minus E. Why minus sign? Because it is electronic charge, right? It is an electronic charge. What is a protonic charge then? It is plus E. Both are having same magnitude, proton and electron, just the difference is between they are of opposite behavior. Okay, both are having charge of magnitude 1.6 into 10 to the power minus 19 coulomb, right? So it is the average velocity of electrons. There are many electrons, lakhs of electrons in a wire. So average velocity, if we calculate individual velocity of all the electrons and then take the average, that average velocity we are talking about. Okay, average velocity of electrons or any charged particles, when it is subjected to an electric field, right? Okay, we can understand this. So there are many electrons which will move in some direction. Which direction? Opposite to the electric field. And so if we take the sum of all the individual velocities of all the electrons and then take the average of all the velocities, that average velocity is the drift velocity actually, right? So is it a theory, or we can find an expression of the drift velocity as well? We can find the expression for the drift velocity as well. How? Look, for this wire, okay, for this wire, if electric field is applied in this direction, all the electrons will move which direction? Left direction, right? Because electric field is in right direction, right? If all the electrons move in this direction, okay, then it is okay, everything is fine. Then what we have to calculate? We have to always remember our objective. We have to calculate our drift velocity, right? Now suppose the area of this cross section, this cross section area, suppose the radius is r, the area will be pi r square. Everywhere can be supposed, can be, as per my knowledge, okay, every wire will have circular cross sectional area, and if we take a particular section of wire, it will behave, or it will look like a cylinder, okay. So I will be doing nothing wrong if we assume area as a, right, for expression, deriving expression, right, and the length be L, length of the section we are considering, right, of the wire. It is not the full wire, it is a section of the wire, okay. So, and all things are done and area has also been assumed. Now we will assume that, let us assume that, what we will assume? Number of charge carriers. Look, there is a trick behind this. When we are calculating VD, okay, so every electron will have some velocity, okay. We don't know there are how many electrons, so we will have to assume something to find number of electrons in that section, okay. For that purpose we are assuming number of electrons per unit volume, okay. What is unit volume? Unit volume is one volume, 1 meter square, 1 centimeter square, anything unity, okay. Unity means one volume is what we are assuming. This is as n, okay. Means in 1 meter cube, what does this mean? In 1 meter cube, number of electrons will be n, okay. Understood, right? So what can we do with this? We can do with this what? So now actually, if this is so and electric field is applied in this direction, okay, so now we will see that due to this electric field, this charge is moving. Why it is moving? There should be some reason to move, because Newton's law says that anything will be at its position until and unless some external force is applied. So some force should have been applied, and what is the driving force which is compelling the electrons or the protons to move? That is the electric field. Field is producing the force to the charged particle, right? So if I want to calculate what is the amount of force each particle is facing, or each particle means each electron is facing, then I can say force. So I will change the pen. Force will be is equal to electronic charge, one electronic charge into electric field applied on that electronic charge, okay. So if electric field is in this direction, force will be in which direction? In for electron, opposite direction. That is why look, everything is satisfies vectorially. Suppose E is in this direction, so negative of E will be opposite direction, right? So vectorially it is correct, right? So if it is so, right, so we can write this as F equal to minus E into E, right? So now we know from basic kinematics that for since force is applied, we can infer that since force is applied there must be some acceleration, okay, because force will create some acceleration. So what will be the acceleration? If F is m into A, then A will be F by m, correct? I am not wrong. So what will be F by m? Look over there. What will be F by m? F by m will be, right, through logic, F was minus E into E, electronic charge into electric field, okay, divided by m with the acceleration. Do we need the acceleration? No, we need the drift velocity, okay. If this is the acceleration, this is the acceleration of the electron, what is the velocity of the electron? Velocity of the electron can be represented as E into E by m into t. Have I written anything wrong? Have I written anything wrong? No, I don't think so, because we know velocity is acceleration into time, right? So this is acceleration and into time, this is drift velocity. And why what is this negative sign represents? Oh, in this equation I am writing this once again, minus E into E by m into t, right? So what does this negative sign represent? It represents, if since velocity is a vector quantity, electric field is a vector quantity, so velocity will be in the which direction? If I want to infer from the equation, velocity will be in the opposite direction to the applied electric field, okay. If it has been positive, then we could have said velocity will be in the same direction as the electric field, but since it is minus, electric field has some direction, and negative sign with that direction indicates opposite direction. So velocity, drift velocity will be in the opposite direction of the applied electric field, right? So what is the expression for the drift velocity? This is the expression for the drift velocity. Vd equal to Ee by m into t, right? So simple. What is actually this is, do we need to remember this? No, because from the above explanation we know that we are applying some force by application of the electric field, and that since the force is applied there should be some acceleration, okay, and since there is an acceleration we can find the velocity by acceleration into time. So what will be the acceleration? Acceleration will be force by mass. And what will be the force? Force will be the force on a charge will be charge into electric field, right? Simple. Over. And there will be a minus because to represent that this is a negative charge, and since it is a negative charge, Vt, the direction of Vt will be in the opposite direction of electric field, right? The direction, since it is a Vd, the direction of Vd is A into T, right? So A is force by mass, okay, into T, and force on a charged particle can be represented as charge on that particle into electric field, okay. Charge on that electron is E, okay, and into E by m into t, everything remains the same, okay. And what does this negative sign represent? It represents, since Vd is a vector quantity, it will be in the direction of which direction? It will be in the opposite direction in the of the applied electric field, okay. Understood? It was simple, okay. E by m into t, and when we represent as vector we will write as minus. Okay, understood? So now we will discuss about drift current. Okay, we will discuss about drift current. Now we will consider that same wire again. Okay, this was the same wire, we will have to consider the same wire again. Okay, and we have applied an electric field over here in this direction. There are numerous charge carriers and the length is L. Okay, everything you know. There are many charged particles inside, and those charged particles are electrons, right? Many E's are there, right? So our objective now is to find what is I, drift current, ID, right? Okay, so what is drift current? Is it not the normal current? No, it is not the normal current. What is drift current? Drift current means due to the application of electric field, since many electrons are moving. Okay, and since when electrons move, we say current is flowing, and that flow of current is called drift current, right? So how can we find the expression of the drift current? Expression of the drift current can be found as, suppose we had seen the area as A, we are considering this cross section. Okay, now when you look at this cross section or this section of wire, when you can say all the charge carriers has been passed through this section, when the last charged particle or last electron will pass through the entire length and pass this cross section, then we can say yes, all the charge carriers has been passed through the cross section area, right? So how can we now represent this? Now what is I? I is Q by T, right? Number of charge passing through a cross section at time t is current, right? So what is Q? Q will be, we had assumed N was number of charge carriers, N was number of charge carriers per unit length, unit volume, right? And what is the volume of this wire? Volume of this wire is area into length. Look, area is meter square into meter will be meter cube. Obviously area into length will be volume. Okay, so if N is the number of charge carriers per unit volume, then for this volume how many charge will be there inside this? Suppose 2 rupees is the cost of 1 kg. So there are how many particles are there? N into number of kg. Okay, so what we have to do is N into A into L. Look, N was the number of charge carriers per unit volume, and how much volume are we considering? A into length. So number of charge carriers per unit volume into volume, number of charge carriers per unit volume, per volume means per unit volume into volume. So volume will get cancelled. Total is the number of amount of charge this is q. Now divided by t, right? Okay, so basically what is this? N into A into L by T. Basically what is this? Number of charge carriers by volume into volume. Okay, it is number of charge carriers by volume means number of charge carriers per unit volume. We know this is N into volume. What is volume? A into L divided by time t. T is this. Okay, so we can find the t as well. What is the time t? T is the amount of time when we can say all the charge carriers has been passed through this cross section. What is the time t? From the kinematics we know time is equal to distance. Time is equal to distance by velocity, right? So what is the distance? Distance is L. L is the distance. Why? Because we can say all the charge carriers has been passed through this cross section only when the last electron of this section of wire will pass through this cross section. Okay, so for this electron when we calculate, things will be like this. Okay, distance by L by velocity. Velocity is Vd, drift velocity. Every electron will be moved by drift velocity, you have seen, right? So total time will be L by Vd. So now we were calculating current. Okay, so now what will be the current? Current was NaL by T. So T is L by Vd. So write NaL by L by Vd. So this L and this L will get cancelled and Vd will go up, right? So it will I'm explaining once again. I equal to, I was NaL by T. Okay, so NaL by T means N into A into L by T. T is what? T is L by Vd. Okay, so write L by Vd. Okay, so it is what it is? N A L will get cancelled, Vd will go in the numerator, LaVt. This is the drift current. Okay, so we can see that drift current can be represented as NaVd, right? It was simple. It was the wire of length L. We were applying a electric field E. Okay, the objective to find was ID, that is drift current. This is ID. Okay, sorry to write it now, but it was ID. I hope by my explanation you are understanding what we are calculating, right? So ID, what is ID? I will be always number of charge passing through a cross section area by time t. What is the number of charge in this section? It is number of charge carriers per unit volume into volume. Okay, number of, in one volume, in 1 meter cube, if there are this much charge, in A into L volume, how many charge? N into that, right? Divided by time t. What is time t? What is time t? Sorry, time t is, how can we calculate time t? Time t is the time when the last electron will pass through this entire length and finally cross this cross section. Then we can say the every electron has passed. So how can we calculate that time? That time will be total length L, full length it is passing, and by a velocity Vd. Okay, the expression of Vd has been found earlier. Okay, so ID will be NaL by T. So NaL by L by Vd. So it will be NaVd, right? Understood? Same has been explained over here. T L by Vd and AVd. Right? This was drift current. I hope you understand that. Right? So now, since ID is equal to NAVD, and we know ID is, what is ID? ID is not a bump. ID is drift current. This is number of charge carriers per unit volume, right? This is area of cross section of wire, and this is drift velocity. How the questions will be framed? Look, since we have assumed n as the number of charge carriers per unit volume, for any cross section you take for the entire wire, suppose wire is infinitely long wire, okay, infinitely long wire, okay, for any section you take, n will not change. Why? Number of cross section per unit volume, every volume, total volume by number of charge, it will not change throughout the cross section area. Okay, so number of charge carriers per unit volume will not change, so n will remain as constant. So we will be asked about the relation between ID and A and Vd. Okay, for finding relation between two, the third has to be constant. Okay, so area of the cross section will also be constant for a particular wire. Okay, for if one wire has been considered, area is also constant. So ID is equals to NAVD. So for a particular wire, for a particular cross section area, A is same, N is same. Okay, so ID is directly proportional to VD. Means for a particular cross section area, ID is NAVD, and for that cross section area, if we are considering a wire, only one wire, okay, so for that wire, cross section area will be same. For a wire, cross section area doesn't change with increasing the length or anything. Cross section area is uniform for a particular wire. Since I have explained you earlier also that n is the number of charge carriers per unit volume. Okay, so it will not change throughout the wire. Number of charge carriers per unit volume will not change. It is a per unit quantity, right? Per unit quantity of the wire, right? So two things are constant. So we can write as ID will be directly proportional to VD. Okay, if area is constant. Okay, so suppose previously the current was ID1, okay, and now current was ID2. Okay, current previously was 5 ampere and now it is 10 ampere. So what we can say about this, VD1 will be more or VD2 will be more. Since ID is directly proportional to VD, okay, so since ID2 is more, so VD2 will be more. Okay, and since ID1 is less, VD1 will be less. Here the explanation clearly says, if one volume increases, other volume also increases. If one volume decreases, other volume also decreases. Okay, suppose current is same in this expression, okay, NAVD, and since wire is same, number of charge carriers is same, per unit volume is same, per unit quantities will be same. Suppose there are two wires. Here there are two wires. It is one wire, it is second wire. Okay, it is first wire, it is second wire of same material. Material 1, right? So if both materials are same, so n will be same because it is per unit quantity. number of charge kinase per unit volume. Okay, and we are representing that IT is same, drift current is same throughout. Okay, so what we can say about the relation between area of cross section and BD. Okay, suppose both are of different cross section, A1 and A2. Okay, so what is the relation? Since all are constant, A can be represented as A equals to ID by NVD. Since ID constant and constant, A will be inversely proportional to VD, right? Inversely proportional to VD. Since both are inversely proportional, if VD increases, A decreases, or converse, we can say VD is inversely proportional to A. It is more, this equation is having more sense. Okay, VD is actually an unknown quantity, area is generally a known quantity. So if there are two wires of different cross section, so where the cross section area will be more, VD will be less, and where the cross section area will be less, VD will be more. Okay, so for bigger cross sectional area, drift velocity will be less. For bigger cross sectional area, drift velocity will be less. For smaller cross section area, drift velocity is more. Okay, understood? These are the two relations. Okay, third relation, what we can say? Third relation can be framed IAVD, IT and VD, AVD, and what else? ID and A. Okay, now for ID and A, we have to see, write this equation. ID is equals to NAVD. Suppose for a wire, okay, suppose for a wire, VD is same throughout the wire. Okay, for two wires, sorry, I am very sorry, for two wires, drift velocity is same. Okay, drift velocity is same drift velocity, and since the material is same for two wires, material is same, N is also same. So what we can say about the relation between IT and A? IT is directly proportional to A. Okay, it means if there are two wires of two cross section area, A1 and A2, which will have more drift current, the more cross section area will have more drift current, less cross section area will have less drift current. Okay, when it will be, when drift current, drift velocity of both the wires, drift velocity of the current electrons of both the wires is same, then we can write this expression. But generally this is an less used case. Okay, because area is generally doesn't change of a wire. Okay, with increasing length or decreasing length, it will remain constant. So basically previous two conditions were more beneficial and useful. What are those? A is directly inversely proportional to VD. Okay, or VD will be inversely proportional to A, means the area, means the wire of greater cross sectional area will have lesser drift velocity, and the wire of lesser cross section area will have more drift velocity, right? Understood? Okay.